Joe Biden, man, that guy. So you recall that just last week he said that he has no regrets whatsoever in his handling of classified material. He's done an amazing job. Sure, they'd found classified materials next to his throwback Corvette in his garage. Sure, they found a few more documents inside his home. And of course, they'd found some documents at the Penn Biden Center for Chinese Donations. But that was pretty much it. I mean, he did an okay job. I mean, it's not a big deal, right? Remember Joe Biden said last week, he was doing fine, guys. It was all good. Here he was.
As we found a handful of documents were filed in the wrong place. We immediately turned them over to the archives of the Justice Department. We're fully cooperating and looking forward to getting this resolved quickly. I think you're going to find there's nothing there. I have no regrets. I'm following what the lawyers have told me they want me to do. It's exactly what we're doing. There's no there.
He's reading it from a binder. There's no there. There's nothing to find. Everything is absolutely hunky-dory. Now, at the time, this is already silly. Once you have classified documents in your possession in multiple places, this raises the question of whether you were careful enough under the statute with classified documents. This is not an intent crime. Now, I understand that James Comey entirely rewrote the law with Hillary Clinton to make it an intent crime. He suggested that basically, unless you had taken classified documents with the intent to expose them to foreign eyes, then there was no criminal matter at hand. It didn't matter even if you had taken the classified documents and put them in a place where foreign actors actually got a hold of them. That was still not a good enough excuse for prosecution. You remember that's exactly what happened with Hillary. She took the documents, she put them on her private server. Comey admitted that these were probably accessed by foreign powers, but he said, you know what? She didn't mean to do that. She didn't mean to hand it over to the Russians or the Chinese or the Iranians. So no prosecution. But then Donald Trump took home a bunch of documents, and everybody on the left immediately went back to the standard pre-Hillary Clinton. They were like, well, clearly he did something terribly evil. And we'll make up a motive. Maybe he was going to sell nuclear secrets to the Russians. And when it turns out that that wasn't the case as well, it was very irresponsible. Remember that Joe Biden said this, right? It was super irresponsible. And the legal standard is irresponsibility. If you're irresponsible with classified documents, then you must pay the price. Well, the problem is that Joe Biden, sure, he's now, quote unquote, abiding by statute in turning over the documents once they have been found. Although, I gotta say, I'm suspicious as to why these documents were found now. This is a very serious question. The Vice President of the United States has been in the Senate of the United States before that, since the 1970s. That dude has been in the U.S. government in positions of high elected power since well before I was born. So why now are we finding these documents? Why were his lawyers searching the documents? This was a real question. Again, the suggestion was that when the Penn Biden Center for Chinese Grift was closing down, the suggestion was that it was just basically like the interns in the closet who were going through the old papers and they found this classified stuff. One, isn't that a problem? I mean, they don't have classified approval. They don't have any sort of actual top security standard. Two, it wasn't actually interns who found it in the closet. It was lawyers, which raises the question. When you move, do you have your lawyers search your old boxes? Or do you typically have some schlub move your boxes, or you move them yourself, or you call your unfortunate friend on the weekend and force him to move the stuff? So if you are cleaning out Penn Biden Center for Chinese donations, why exactly are your lawyers going through that? And then why are they going through your garage? And then why are they going through your house? The real answer here, by the way, is that Joe Biden probably had his lawyers going through these documents knowing there were about to be a bunch of Republican investigations that were going to request some sort of perusal of all of his old documents. And they were going to find those. So he's like, okay, I'm going to activate my lawyers now, and they're going to go look through all of the documents. Okay, fine. All of this suggests, of course, that the standard that was applied to Donald Trump, which was if you are messy with classified documents, then you should be prosecuted, was going to be thrown away as soon as it was Joe Biden on the other end of that stick. And that's precisely what seems to have happened here. Just last week, Karine Jean-Pierre actually suggested that Joe Biden saying that there was no there, which is, of course, a paraphrase of a Gertrude Stein statement about a major American city. There's no there. It's so dismissive. It's so silly. You can't simultaneously say you take classified documents very seriously and two, there's no there. There is a there. There are classified documents there. That is literally a there. I don't know what else to say about that. He literally did the thing you're not supposed to do. You don't then get to declare that you're very serious about that thing. Yeah, that's exactly what Karine Jean-Pierre said. She said it just shows how serious Joe Biden is that he's saying it's not very serious.
Because he's also said he takes very seriously the handling of classified documents. So I'm unclear what he means about no regret.
So
I'm not going to comment further from what the president has said yesterday. I think he laid out his thoughts. He was asked about it. He laid out his thoughts of whatever question he was asked. I'm not going to get into specifics, or I'm not going to go beyond what the president has said. But I will reiterate from here that and basically what he said to all of you many times at this point, that he does indeed take classified information and seriously. He does indeed take classified documents seriously.
What? What? She is the world's most untalented press secretary. Well, as it turns out, over the weekend, they found even more documents. I know. You're shocked. We'll get to more on this in just one moment. First, I want to talk to you about Daily Wire's most trusted privacy partner and a premier sponsor of this show, ExpressVPN. Using the internet without ExpressVPN, it's like leaving your laptop open and unattended at the coffee shop table. Most of the time, totally fine. But what if you turn around one day and there's just some weird guy who's browsing your emails and it's Joe Biden? Well, every time you connect to an unencrypted network in a coffee shop, a hotel, an airport, hackers on that same network can access your personal data. It doesn't take a genius to hack somebody. All you need is some cheap hardware. That is why I use ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN creates a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet, so hackers can't steal your data. It would take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past ExpressVPN's encryption. I love ExpressVPN. It's so easy to use. You hit one button, it is now downloaded. You hit another button, it is now protecting you. It's that simple. It works on all your devices. You can stay secure on the go. Secure your online data today. Visit expressvpn.com/Ben. That's expressvpn.com/Ben. Get 3 extra months for free. expressvpn.com/Ben. Also, when you're traveling, when you're away from home, you need the J's case because you just don't know. You might get sick. It's easy to get sick while you're traveling, for example. And if you don't have antibiotics with you, it's a problem. Or let's say that you're home and some sort of emergency hits. Remember during COVID, at the very beginning, you couldn't even get toilet paper? Well, what if you need the antibiotic because, something happens and you get sick? Well, this is where the Jace case comes in. You need to be prepared for anything. My new partners at Jace Medical are here to help. Jace Medical helps you get a long-term supply of prescription medication. Their mission is to empower you to be better medically prepared. A great way to start preparing is with that Jace case, a pack of 5 different courses of antibiotics you can use to treat a whole host of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, and more. All you have to do is fill out a simple online form and, in some cases, jump on a quick call with one of their board-certified physicians. From there, you can ask your physician treatment-related questions on an ongoing basis. It's really simple. Makes your life much easier. The Jace case gives me peace of mind knowing that my family will have what we need. If the worst happens, I want you to be prepared as well. Go to jacemedical.com, enter code Ben at checkout for $10 off your order. That's at JASEmedical.com, promo code Ben, jacemedical.com, promo code Ben. I thought that he was super careful about all of this sort of stuff, but as it turns out, he's not that careful with this sort of stuff. According to NBC News, 6 additional items, including documents with classified markings, were found in President Joe Biden's Delaware home after Justice Department officials searched the residence on Friday, according to the president's personal attorney. The search was prompted by the White House, not the Justice Department, according to a White House official and a source familiar with the matter. The documents at the Wilmington, Delaware home appear to be related to his time as vice president, as well as to his tenure in the United States Senate. Wait, hold up a second. His tenure in the United States Senate. So he left his job in the White House in January of 2017, right? That's when the Obama administration ended. He left his job as senator in the United States Senate in 2009. It is now 2023, guys. That means that he's had classified documents from his time in the Senate for 14 years, for minimum. It may be 50 years because he was literally a senator for like 3 decades before that. He may have classified documents from the Reagan administration. This is a guy who says that he's really, really careful about classified I'm having a hard time with this. So, according to NBC News, the documents at those Wilmington, Delaware home, they are related to his time in government. They were found after Biden's counsel offered full access to the premises as the department investigates his possession of classified material, Bob Bauer, Biden's personal attorney, said in a statement. Bauer said, DOJ took possession of materials it deemed within the scope of its inquiry, including 6 items consisting of documents with classification markings and surrounding materials, some of which were from the president's service in the Senate, some of which were from his tenure as vice president. He added the department had full access to Biden's home, including personally handwritten notes, files, papers, binders, memorabilia, to-do lists, schedules, and reminders going back decades. Apparently, investigators spent about 13 hours at the president's personal residence on Friday, according to White House officials and Biden's lawyer. It was a planned consensual search of the president's residence in Wilmington, Delaware. This would make, again, the third tranche of documents that we have now found, minimum, that contain classified materials. And apparently the word Iran has been mentioned in here. Apparently some of the classified materials included materials about Iran. By the way, it was the FBI that was actually pursuing this particular search, apparently. It was not just Biden's personal attorneys this time. The federal search of Biden's home, while voluntary, marks an escalation of the probe, according to CNN, into the president's handling of classified documents and will inevitably draw comparisons to his predecessor, former President Donald Trump, even if the FBI search of Trump's residence was conducted under different circumstances. So now we have the former president and the current president both under FBI investigation for classified documents mishandling. Everything is going great. Only the finest people in positions of high power in this particular country. Meanwhile, the Justice Department, again, is announcing that they are involved in all of this, and they are considering other locations, apparently. They're not done at this point. So they've checked the Penn Biden Center, they've checked his house, they've checked his garage, but there may be more locations that they actually have to check now. Because it turns out that Joe Biden apparently leaves classified documents like his son leaves cocaine-ridden laptops. Just like everywhere. Like on the Acela, in like a locked bathroom on the Acela, there's just classified documents now. Turns out that Joe Biden at the local ice cream shop, while he was eating Rocky Road, just left a classified document in the garbage bin or something. It is incredible. Okay, so is he going to be prosecuted? Of course he's not going to be prosecuted. He's a special person. You're not a special. If this were you, you'd get prosecuted, but he's a special person, so he will not be prosecuted. In fact, what is amusing is to watch the spin coming from Democrats and from the media on all of this. At least Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, he was at least honest enough to say, yeah, Biden has lost the high ground here. It's going to be very difficult for Biden to claim that he is morally superior to President Trump when the dude is apparently leaving classified documents like Hansel was leaving breadcrumbs through the forest. It's insane. Here we go. It's Senator Dick Durbin.
Do you fear that because of that, the current president has kind of lost the high ground on this notion of classified information being where it shouldn't be?
Well, of course. Let's be honest about it. When that information is found, it diminishes the stature of any person who is in possession of it, because it's not supposed to happen. Whether it was the fault of a staffer or an attorney, it makes no difference. The elected official bears ultimate responsibility.
Wow, good for Dick Durbin. But Dick Durbin is actually being less of a partisan than CNN's Pamela Brown. Over the weekend, CNN's Pamela Brown asked a Republican congressperson about Trump versus Biden. She's like, well, you know the difference, don't you? You do. You know the difference. Here we go.
This inequality, this hypocritical aspect, especially from President Biden having condemned Trump and then having done the same thing.
Right, and he
important.
did. I mean, he did condemn it, and we have scrutinized that on this show, that he said it was really irresponsible what Trump did, and now there have been approximately 20 classified documents found at various properties, and certainly he has been under scrutiny. But you know, if you're being intellectually honest with yourself, the key difference here that Trump and his team defied a subpoena. They said they had turned over everything, and yet evidence developed through the course of the investigation that classified documents were being moved, which started this obstruction of justice investigation.
Okay, but that's not a key difference with regard to the actual mistreatment of classified information. It may be a key difference with regard to an obstruction charge, but there are two separate charges for Trump that are apparently being considered. One is the obstruction of justice stuff. Was he trying to cover something up? And the second is the mishandling of classified material. And again, it's going to be very difficult to claim obstruction of justice when the underlying claim that misclassification of material or classification of material that was mishandled, that if there's no underlying crime, the obstruction becomes a lot less sanguine. So yeah, the media are going to try to spin Biden's way out of this. Bottom line is all of this is going to end up being thrown overboard. Trump is now off the hook thanks to Joe Biden and his complete inability not to apparently take classified documents home and just leave them in random places. And the best excuse for Joe Biden is that Joe Biden doesn't know what's going on around him on a daily basis. So it's not super shocking that he ended up with a bunch of classified documents pretty much everywhere. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be getting into the notion from the media that Israel is turning into a fascist country. It's absurd. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click the link in the description and join us.